He is a god of the game.
Step aside the Kohlis and the Dhonis. It's time for our new heroes. Neeraj Chopra, Rani Rampal, Sreejesh, Mirabai and many more have made us realize sports is not just about winning. It's also about emotions, as shown by Messi in his final goodbyes to Barcelona. Is Lukaku moving to Chelsea, Romero to Spurs, and it's NBA draft time. Let's go!
Absolutely world class.
Indian athlete has won an Olympic gold medal, guys, and that too in the athletics section. Let that sink in, guys, for a while. But in that time, let's also welcome Ishan to the episode.
Hi guys, so very proud to be an Indian. A very rare feat. And we're so excited to talk about the Olympics. And we want to start off with Neeraj Chopra. So Bala, over to you.
Yes, so Olympics, after hosting like about 11,090 athletes across 339 events in 33 different sports, Olympics 2020 finally ended yesterday. That is on Sunday, 8th of August. Today it's 9th of August, Monday, and it's about 12 p.m. right now. It was a grand and a beautiful closing ceremony. The baton has been officially handed over to Paris 2024 now. But we will have to start with India's impressive show. A total of 7 medals, the best ever for our country so far, ever in the history of Olympics. 4 bronzes, 2 silvers and 1 gold. And that too, like not just a gold, it was like a commanding performance in the finals. Our best Olympics ever. Tons and tons of positives. But as Ishan said, Ishan, let's start with our golden boy.
Neeraj Chopra. Unbelievable. I think the Indian contingent almost did Fergie time. I remember 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the Indian contingent at the Olympics, we were pretty depressed. We had 1 medal and we didn't do shit. But at the fag end of the Olympics, boy, I don't know what happened. They chucked the India together in a room or what? Swades. A.R. Rahman sung a beautiful song for them. I don't know what happened, but whatever happened, it worked. But Neeraj Chopra, and it was such a smart tactic. If you look at how he went about his strategy in the javelin throw, he gave it all in his first throw, knowing that it has to be his first throw to go the max distance. Otherwise, there was a German athlete, Vetter, who was one of the highest ranked javelin throwers. He was going to be his main challenger, and he knew that they will have multiple attempts. So his first throw, about 87.65. Is it feet? Is it meters? Meters was highest, like went the furthest by a margin. Actually, there was the Austrian who came second was, I think, 1 meter short.
Czech Republic.
Czechoslovakian who? Czechoslovakia was silver and bronze.
Won silver and bronze. Yeah.
He was 1 meter short, but boy, when you think about India and Olympics, everything outside that track is what we associate India to get a medal in. For Neeraj Chopra to do what he did, in a javelin, it's one of the greatest moments for Indian sport by far, because nobody even thought India was capable of winning anything on the track. So amazing performance by India as a whole. Congratulations to everyone. But it also, after the Olympics ended, I was a little sad. After every Olympics we talk about our infrastructure sucks. They're such great athletes. If you give them the facilities, the infra, you never know. We might be a force of nature in track and field and other sports as well. And you just get hit with that reality that yes, cricket is our number 1 sport, but ye sport ko bhi bhav do yaar. Like, you have champions coming out of nowhere. Give them some, give youngsters some leverage. Start it in schools, start athletics, scholarships in schools. That's how you will build that culture. Like North America, USA, they offer, the athletics starts in school. They get college admissions because of it. So if that culture starts in India, you never know. There might be one day an Olympics contingent where we are the favorites for track and field over anybody else.
True. Talking about giving bhav to other sports, talk about women's hockey, especially women's hockey. I mean, hockey in general we can talk about, but in general, in specific to women's hockey, we did cover a bit of that during the last episode in a very quick way. But I just want to make sure that we give a proper applaud and proper the proper appreciation to the team and to the entire staff. Like, they came back after a couple of losses. They won their last game against South Africa, the last group game against South Africa, and from there in the quarterfinals defeating the Aussies, and almost did it against I think they lost the semi-finals to Argentina and lost their bronze medal match to Great Britain. See, they didn't win a medal. Now that's where my point is coming from. Not all the athletes and not all the players who won a medal should be appreciated, but there were a ton of brilliant performances. We'll list them all out as we move along, but Indian hockey, women's hockey has to be on top. They made a pretty big noise and made the entire nation notice them. Great job. I'm pretty sure like there are tons of people, tons of women from tier 2, tier 3 cities, even tier 1 cities want to take hockey as a professional sport. So the Indian Hockey Federation and someone like Star Sports or Sony Sports, like, they can probably cash in on this. I'm talking in a very business sense, but I'm saying like that will also actually help the sport to develop. So if you create more audience.
But I was reading a India Today article about the situation of the women's hockey team before this Olympic, expedition happened. They had about 3 or 4 foreign coaches who were really good, but the moment they started being really good, they were moved to the men's team. So just before the Olympics, the women's team, 25 members of the women's hockey team, actually took a stand saying that we want to do it ourselves. We'll find a coach and we'll do it ourselves. And that's where, I can't pronounce his name, Slord Marine came. What a journey for him as well. Like, I saw him, it was a proper Kabir Khan moment when you saw him crying, where the Indian team celebrated. You don't see that happen too often, especially in a sport like hockey, which nobody talks about. It was just, stories were made this Olympics, and I hope, administration, the government, focus on these moments and make this happen more often, because there truly is potential in this country to, do really big things in sports.
See, winning a medal, doing really well in Olympics is, yes, it's a medal. It's India will appear on the list of medals tally in Olympics. But beyond that, it's a story. It's an inspiring story of an athlete who overcame a lot of difficulties in a country like India to go to play that sport at a professional level, to go and represent India at Olympics, and to produce a performance that was medal worthy. It's a great story, and that's why I mean, it's not like preference, but I actually like a team performance more than individual performance, because when a team performs, we have at least 20 stories. There's just the team, the coaching staffs. There are 20 different stories.
That's very well said.
So
right.
It is great. Yes. It's really, really great. Covering the other individual medalists, wrestling, we have been doing very well in wrestling over a period of time. And this time also we didn't, there was a slight disappointment, we'll talk about that later, but from a positive standpoint, Ravi Kumar Dahiya won silver, and Bajrang Punia, one of our medal favorites, won bronze, and a pretty impressive display again in wrestling. We have been doing well in that field for a while. Lavlina and Sindhu won respective, when bronzes in their respective category, which is boxing and badminton singles. So apart from all these medal winning athletes, I want to focus a bit more on the athletes who actually couldn't win a medal, but they actually did produce an impressive performance, made us all notice them. We spoke a lot about the women's hockey team, but someone like Aditi Ashok.
Wow. Indians
getting up early morning on a Saturday watching golf, where it has never happened before.
Yeah, we've had some great men golfers. We've had Jyoti Randhawa, etc., who've done great things for men's hockey in India. But Aditi Ashok, man, she was so close. She was in the silver position going into the last round, the 4th round, and she just missed out on bronze at the end of the 18 holes. But it was out of the blue. Like, wow, I didn't even know that there was an Indian contestant in athlete playing golf till there was news that, she's almost going to win a silver. So unbelievable story for her as well. I was reading up about her. Great story. Great. Like she also didn't start from like great means, and to do it in golf, which is also considered in courts an elite sport, to do it there, amazing. But yeah, I mean, who else was really shown for you who probably didn't win a medal, Bala, for India?
So our 4 into 400 meters relay team, they created an Asian record. They couldn't win it. Table tennis players, Manika Batra, Sutita Mukherjee. I mean, Manika Batra won, I think, reached round 3, which is in itself is a great achievement for Indian table tennis. Sumit Nagal won a game. I mean, eventually lost to Medvedev, I believe, who is number 2, I think number 2 or number 3 in world right now. Fuad Mirza, an equestrian. Nobody even know what equestrian is, but we were following a player who was doing that. C.A. Bhavani Devi in fencing, the first time I think ever India contested in fencing, and she won a game. She lost the second round. These are people should be focused. People should not forget these performances, because see, I'm not trying to stereotype here, but there is there's a lot of this positive wave at this point of time, and our most of our parents who don't know how to channel that passion, they'll just put all of their kids now go do a javelin throw. Like, no, you are good in running, no, please do javelin throw, because that's where we won gold. So don't do that, because so there's this person I know. He's a sports analyst. He does a lot of guest lectures and all in IIMs. So he was saying, so he had a cricket startup back in 2007. So when India won the T20 World Cup, the next day they received some 15-20 random phone calls from parents stating that, "Arey, please take my son, like make him a cricketer, like make him a cricketer," and all that thing. Like, so I agree that passion is there, which is good, which is very good. But let them continue wherever they want to continue. Don't make them focus on the gold-winning sport only. There are millions of other sports where we can excel and we can still win a gold and do very well. So just to finish off that message, as you pointed out, the brilliant point you brought in during the initial discussion, which is about, as a country, us supporting these games, being a part of this journey, it's very important. I mean, I'm not saying like go and follow a new game. It's okay if you can do that, very well, awesome. But there are a lot of small things that you can do. Like if you are a parent who have like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, make sure you watch a game with that kid.
Yeah.
Be it any game, be it cricket, be it football, be it hockey, be it whatever. Watch a game. Let the kids see you emote. Let the kids see you be happy when you win. Or see your other side when you lose. I mean, don't get too emotional and start breaking things and swear words and all. So that's not advisable. That's not very advising. But see, it's very important. And if you're a family, if you have the luxury of getting together as a family, getting together as friends, make sure that you have sport as a conversation, a family conversation. You talk sport in the dinner table. I don't know, I'm just like throwing out things, because these are things that will motivate kids as they are young to get into this field.
And to be honest, there is no greater sporting event in the world than the Olympics. Meaning, if you get your child to just watch the Olympics, like watch anything. There are many sports going on the Olympics. Watch anything. It will just open up their minds to an entire world of competition, unity. They become world citizens just by watching an Olympics. And that's the power of sports, and that's the power of Olympics. And it will never be beaten by any other sporting event. Yes, we go crazy. Bala and I go crazy with Champions League, Premier League, whatever. But they pale in comparison to the impact a gold medal or a medal or even participation happen that matters to smaller countries. Like I remember Micronesia in Sydney 2000 took part. They had 2 contestants, but the pride in their face when they were doing the opening ceremony, you're representing your country. That is what sports is about, right? So if every kid watches just the Olympics, they will be sports fans for life.
Super. let's move on to the next topic, and just a final congratulations to all the athletes, everyone, and one big kudos to the entire team that worked day and night to make this happen under all these tough circumstances. So brilliant, wonderful, and we will totally look forward to Paris 2024. Paris has become the center of sporting activity in the world. So looks like
Today I saw Bagban on YouTube.
Huh.
It was the Barcelona official TV channel was broadcasting Bagban. And while watching it, like watching the movie, I started crying as well. I didn't know why, but I was no. But on a serious note, we were seeing, I think probably one of the most emotional moments I've come across in football in my lifetime. Not because of a player leaving a club, but in the way he was made to leave. For people who don't know what the hell we're talking about Lionel Messi, who yesterday officially said goodbye to Barcelona and the Spanish La Liga. And it was just surreal, I felt. I actually felt like, whoa, when we used to watch WWE, when we used to have Raw versus SmackDown, and I thought Messi would just fucking tear his suit and then it'll be a Barca journey and say that, hey, bitches, I'm still here. But I was just waiting for that moment, but it didn't start. It was just surreal to watch one of the greatest footballers ever break down and be so what's it called? So
human,
vulnerable.
so human.
Yeah, so human. Like, you're right. Like, he was inconsolable, and I'm a Real Madrid fan, but I got damn emotional. Like, I was in tears because you don't see that happen many times in football. And like when he said that, I wish I had my last match in front of the new camp. I didn't even get that opportunity. You sometimes some players don't deserve what they get, and this is one of the biggest examples of that. And yeah, so I'm not going to talk more about it. You should, because you're the fan. But football will be the same again, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, see, we have discussed a lot. In fact, we made a special episode for this last week. The last episode was a special episode for this. But yeah, whatever you summed up, I agree to that. But at the end of the day, what I thought was, yes, this was a breakup, a necessary breakup, but still a breakup. So there was a bit of emotions. But TK, at the end of the day, if you take a step back and look at the larger scheme of things, this is pretty much necessary for Barcelona to move on. Yes, agree, the way it happened, how it happened, no one couldn't do anything about it. But the legacy is not spoiled, and at least like he had a great chance to at least address the media, address his teammates, the club, and to say his final goodbyes. So anyway, pretty much that's over. And it seems that his move to PSG is imminent. Pretty much everything is done. Only the final medical and signing of the final contract, the official stuff needs to happen. They were trying to unveil him on Eiffel Tower, but I'm not sure whether that's happening or not.
You know what I'm scared for is like next year they will interview Sergio Ramos and Ramos will say Messi is the best player I've ever played with. It's my biggest fear.
Oh God.
No, but as I was saying, going back to my Bagban point, which is very important, Hema Malini, if Amitabh Bachchan was Messi, Hema Malini, because Amitabh Bachchan left, has injured herself and himself, Hema Malini being Sergio Aguero. I said, मुझे नहीं खेलना है मेसी के बिना, and so he ran himself into his chair while playing Fortnite and has injured himself and is out for the next 10 months.
No.
What do you say about that?
10 months. I saw it was 10 weeks. I thought it's 10 weeks.
He's out. Is it? No, yeah, you're right. He's out till end of November, which is
about 2.5 months. That's what I saw. But yeah, I mean, he won't be back till then. But it's actually reduced one problem for Barca because they haven't registered any of them yet.
Oh my God.
But still, hey,
But
see,
coming back to Barcelona, they played really
Yeah,
well.
they already won a trophy, huh? Joan Campbell Trophy.
Yeah.
They already won a trophy.
And they beat Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. I was like, they played really well. I just saw the highlights. I couldn't watch the match, obviously. Seems that they played pretty well, but then Memphis Depay played pretty well, but he can't play against Real Sociedad, which is their first game next week because he hasn't got registered yet. So Barcelona still have a lot to sort out before they begin the season, anyways.
Yeah.
But the season that has started in Ligue 1, the French league has started. PSG defeated Troyes 2-1 their first game.
Yes.
Mauro Icardi scored probably his final goal for PSG because with Messi coming in, I don't think Icardi will be anywhere around that PSG.
I think he's the seventh backup striker for PSG now.
Also, Messi doesn't like
I think
Icardi. Na? Messi has problems with Icardi.
everyone who's Argentinian, it seems, has problems with Icardi. but what a team, man! Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You're potentially going to have Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi as a starting forward line and then you probably have Di Maria and Icardi on your bench. They can literally like rest players and play them whenever they feel like. They can take chits and say this will be the starting 11. So Messi can have his mate like he loves having, sipping on it, and then come on for 10 minutes, score a free kick, and that's a good game. So it's going to be interesting and I'm very excited to watch PSG.
Yeah.
I'm guessing everyone in the world will be watching PSG play every stupid game. Not only Champions League now.
I don't think Liga is being telecasted in India, so I'm not sure what's going to happen to that. Will MTV stop showing La Liga and start showing Liga? We don't know that that's going to happen. Now,
If there's one season I don't want to watch Real Madrid, it's this, so it's fine.
yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy. And PSG did a Galacticos assembly without even having to spend a lot of money. Has to be the biggest coup ever. It cannot be.
Yes,
Yeah.
for people who don't know, as Bala was saying, PSG have officially signed Sergio Ramos, Gianluigi Donnarumma, and Wijnaldum on a free.
And Messi.
I'm not saying Messi because it's not happened as yet. Anything can happen. I still feel he's going to tear that shirt and it's going to be Barcelona. Until he lands in Paris, I don't know. But 4 potential players, 4 probably the best players you can ever buy. Forget buying for free. Unbelievable, and they already have a great team. So PSG are going to, like, the pressure on them to win this year's Champions League. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Meaning, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Think about Pochettino for a second, right? Like 1.5 years back or 2 years back when he was at Tottenham, he had to cry so hard to Daniel Levy and finally got a tangy Ndombele. Now, yahan pe he just needs to point fingers with Ramos, Messi, Donnarumma.
He got tangy Ndombele, now he's getting salty Messi.
Oh wow! Oh, good one. Great. Now talking about these big transfers. See, we have been talking about that this transfer window is going to be one of the biggest in the history. We have been saying this 2 months before the transfer window even started, and it is proving out to be one of the greatest because Lukaku to Chelsea. Wow, where did that come from?
I have no idea, but and we've discussed this. I am not in agreement with this deal. The basic idea was Chelsea's first preference was Haaland, but Dortmund wanted nothing less than 175 million, which is ridiculous. And for people who don't know, Haaland is going to be a free agent next year, so he's going to be open to discussion.
No. Actually, small correction. He's not going to be a free agent, but there's going to be a release clause.
Yes, sorry. He's going to have a release clause of 75 million next year, which means that Chelsea will no longer be just a favorite, just one of the only applicants for Haaland. He might go anywhere. So 175 million seemed a lot for them. So they chose, say, a 10-year elder Haaland in a way and went for Romelu Lukaku, who is, by the way, an ex-Chelsea player who only was there for 10 months. But he comes back to the Premier League for 125. Is it 125 million?
Yeah, I think it's about 125 million euros, I believe. I think I saw about 110 million pounds.
Which is a lot of money. I believe, for Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah.
I know he's a very different player than what he was at Man United, but a lot of what he did was due to Antonio Conte. This is a different manager. I don't know how that will work, but yeah, they were crying out for a forward because Timo Werner cannot write goal on a Microsoft Word document. Forget scoring one. So they need that. I think he'll fit in great because there's so many providers. Like there's so many guys who can provide the ball to Romelu Lukaku. They've got Havertz, they've got Pulisic, Ziyech, everyone. And so I think he's going to be a good signing. I don't know how. Will he be groundbreaking? Will he be a Didier Drogba? I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a great signing. See, the moment I heard Lukaku or Chelsea is going for Lukaku, my first thought was, why City aren't going for Lukaku? If Lukaku is available, why City aren't going for Lukaku? Because again, they also need a striker, and Lukaku has shown after moving to Inter that he is not just a physical player like how he was with United, with Everton, etc. Like he showed that he can be a much more sleeker, much more faster, much more fitter, and also someone who understand the tactics, understand the game at a tactical level, and move accordingly. So I was a little surprised that if Lukaku was available, why City wasn't going, why they had to go and pay 150 million for Kane when Lukaku was available at 120 million. Say, I would still take 120 million Lukaku over 150 million Kane. This Lukaku at least. So it's a great signing. Chelsea again with the signing of Lukaku, they are suddenly looking extremely strong. It's like you have this entire jumble all assembled, only one piece missing, and like Lukaku goes and sits there. It looks like a threatening, a scary team right now. Suddenly Chelsea are looking extremely scary.
I still feel Chelsea are looking strong. I still have doubts about their defense. If there is one, like a few weaknesses there. Thiago Silva's touching 50 now. They've got Christensen, and I don't know, Zuma plays or doesn't play. I don't know. You barely notice him.
Rudiger.
But I think defense is a weak point. But I actually have a contrarian thought to use. I would pick Kane any day over Romelu Lukaku. No matter, like, yes, the pricing is a little 150 million, probably a little too much for Harry Kane. But for me, Kane is the epitome of a centre forward. And he fits into what Pep does. If you look at Pep's teams throughout, he's never had a proper, other than Lewandowski, never had a proper striker, like a guy who's in the box and scores. He's always had those fluid players who keep scoring. Like he had Thierry Henry, obviously Messi. So I think that's probably why he doesn't fit into the ethos of Manchester City. And if you look at how City is set up, they focus on British talent.
Yeah.
We keep saying that City spend a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money on British talent. They spent Kyle Walker, Raheem Sterling, Stones, Foden, then Grealish now. So they're actually paying a lot of money and keeping it within the country, which is great.
So yeah, talking about other transfers, another great transfer happened, which is Christian Romero from Atalanta to Spurs. Again, a very good transfer, a very solid defensive player, someone Tottenham badly need. I think it's a very, very smart and a very, very sensible signing. So we will get to see a lot of Christian Romero at Spurs. And to round off all the football discussions, Manchester City lost to Leicester City in the Community Shield. Leicester won the game 1-0 through a Kelechi Iheanacho penalty. City were without most of the English players. Jack Grealish came on as a sub. Did something, but not very effective. He did whatever he could.
He's lost his last 3 finals.
Oh, yeah, correct. FA Cup final, one EFL Cup final. Oh, very, true, that's right. And all 3 different finals. Yeah, that's very...
Yeah, also Euros, but he didn't play, but Euros.
Yeah, Euros also. Then it's 4 actually. That's great. Awesome. So City lost. They were without De Bruyne. They were without Sterling, Foden. And many of the English players didn't start. Stones, Walker. No one started. So understandably, they were a little weaker. And on the other hand, Leicester played pretty much their full strength team and impressively won the game 1-0 and lifted the Community Shield. Now, before moving on to our final discussion of the day, we will quickly give you a heads up that we will be back to doing 2 episodes per week because the season is starting this weekend. This is Saturday, EPL starting, La Liga starting. So we'll do a Thursday night recording. We'll do a quick preview of the season. We'll talk about some teams, plus minus transfers, etc. So that's about it for football. But before we wrap up this episode, we will do a quick roundup of NBA draft. Ishan, if you can give our listeners and me an idea of what a draft is, how it happens.
Bala, before I start on the NBA, do you want to talk about how day 5 in a test match happens in England?
That has never happened now, so what is the point of talking about? Oh yeah, it was a disappointing end, guys. I mean, the game was actually pretty good. All the 4 days it was pretty good. Just the fact that it was a dampener when it was heading up to a great finish.
Really a dampener.
Yeah, it was heading up to a great finish, and then it just like the rain came and played spoil sport. You know which game this reminded me of? So India-Australia game, 2004 Chennai. So I went and saw the third day's game. I went and saw the fourth day's game, and when end of fourth day it was nicely set up. We required about 200 runs to win India required 200 runs to win the game. Last day, Sehwag was in great form. Yuvraj was opening that time. We had no openers. Tendulkar wasn't playing. So next day, I bunked college. I went to the stadium to watch the game, but all I could see was rain. It ended, so it was a pretty dampening end. So this reminded me of that game. But to round off that, you want to add any points to that? How India performed, how England performed?
I think it was, as you said, final day was very finely balanced. We got a great 50 runs in the fourth day, and we had the momentum going. But I think the last time we were touring England, we had 3 chases and we failed all of them, and 2 of them were under 200. So there was that kind of balance. Anything could happen, 2-3 wickets down, England are back in the game. But I want to give two big shout outs in the game for me. Joe Root, what a flawless century that was under pressure, and Jasprit Bumrah, man, wow, like that guy is just one of the finest fast bowlers we've ever had. Unbelievable swinger of the ball, and he still does it so great. Looking forward to the second test, but now it's time for the NBA. 2 major things that happened in the last couple of weeks. The NBA draft happened, which happens every year. For people who are not familiar with the NBA draft, I will tell you how it happens, but I will just make it very easy for you. Previously, about 4 years ago, the draft was the first pick. So generally the first pick in a draft, and these are all players coming in from college, be it freshmen. So in America, you can either be a freshman and apply for the NBA. You have to register and say, okay, I've registered for the NBA, or you could do your college education, go till 4th year, and then apply for the NBA. So people, there was a lot of political weight and pressure put, because if people, apply for the NBA and they get injured, they've not even finished college. There was a lot of risk in that. So generally, the American government actually started promoting that college players will actually get paid, so that they finish their education as well as do basketball, and then they can apply for the NBA. But there are some talents who are just so good that they know they're going to make it big. So they start as freshmen, they apply for the NBA draft. So who gets the first pick? As I was saying, about 4 years ago, the first pick always went to the bottom feeder of last season. The problem with that model was midway. So an NBA season is 82 games, regular season, right? What happened was that teams that realized that they were never going to make the playoffs actually deliberately starting losing games. They used to bottle it deliberately, which became a huge problem, because think of it this way: you're in the city, you're a fan of the club, you're paying money to watch a game, and you're watching your team crumble deliberately. They're playing their 4th, 5th string squad.
Very unsportsmanship.
Yes. So what the NBA did was, for the bottom 3 teams, there will be a lottery, almost like how we do the draws in Champion League. There are random balls that they have to pick up, and they get the first, second, third pick accordingly. So generally, the bottom team need not be the first pick; they might be the third pick as well.
Okay.
So last year, the bottom team was the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they got and as luck would have it, they didn't get the first pick; they got the third pick.
Okay.
Right? So the first, second, and third are the most prized jewels of college basketball. Colleges want to retain them for one more year for winning the college championship, but they have their ambitions to become NBA players. So it's similar, like in movies, right? So coming to the point, the number one draft pick this year was a player called Kate Cunningham from Oklahoma State. He was picked up by the Detroit Pistons. He's a point forward. Great talent. He's one of the prospects people are very excited for because of the sheer potential he has. For people who don't know, he has a 7 feet wingspan.
Oh.
If you can imagine that, he's tall horizontally.
Like this.
The second pick was Jalen Green, who went to the Houston Rockets, and the third was Evan Mobley, who went to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I just wanted to give you an intro about how drafts work. We're gonna take some time to explain how trades happen, how the trade logic works. Is very different from football. American sports have very complicated ways of doing trades.
Let me ask a couple of questions then we can lead up from there.
Sure.
So first question is, how long these contracts should be? Is there like a limit that a team that picks a player through draft can only give the player a X years contract?
So by default, a rookie has a 2-year contract.
Okay.
Right? A 2-year contract with the club he's been drafted in. Now that contract is it doesn't guarantee him being part of the club. He can be part of the B team of the club as well.
Got it.
Of the basketball club, right? But generally a 2-year. After that, he's open for a long-term contract. So if I give you an example, Luka Doncic, who is he's my favorite player right now in the NBA, partly because he used to play for Real Madrid, the basketball team. He was the MVP at 17 years old in the Spanish league, which is Euro League, which is one of a very strong European league, and then joined the Dallas Mavericks as a rookie, as part of the draft. And in his second year, he's been given a Supermax contract. A Supermax contract is the ceiling a club can get. A basketball club can only offer one Supermax contract to a player, which basically means that is their like a Messi of the club.
Okay.
So those contracts are generally worth 6 years.
Okay.
It's a 6-year contract. What I think Doncic signed a $200 million Supermax contract, which keeps him in the with the Dallas Mavericks for 6 years. Right? Wow. Stephen Curry just again signed his second Supermax for $212 million with the Golden State Warriors. Wow. So there are some complications. For example, trading can also happen like, I want a specific player from you and I'll give you my draft pick for next year.
Okay.
So if I know I'm a lower side team, I know I have a higher draft pick than you would. Like if a Lakers is competing for a championship and they need just one good player to make it a very strong playoff team, they will say, okay, give me this player midway through a season and I will give you my draft pick.
Got it.
So there are a lot of permutation combination. There's a veteran trade. Veterans can sign on a very low fee if they're above 30 or plus 10 years for 12 years in the NBA. They can come for really cheap and they can be keep moving around across clubs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Next question is, can players and clubs deal outside the draft? Let's say the club gives a player a 5-year deal or whatever. After the 5th year, can the player and club again extend it outside the draft, or the player has to come back to the draft and then get picked? Is it something like that?
No. Draft is only for rookies.
Achha, draft is only for rookies. Okay, got it.
The NBA draft every year is for rookies who are from college.
Okay, got it. Now, next question is, let's say, question is when
similarly like football, right? There are 2 transfer windows where trades happen. It's called the trade deadline. Okay. Trade deadline happens before a season, like in football, and one happens just before the All-Star game, which is halfway through, which is as good as like the winter transfer break.
Okay.
So similarly, just before the NBA All-Stars is halfway through a season where teams know if they have a playoff run or not, and they can make emergency trades at that time to just build up their squad so that they make a strong playoff run.
Got it. Now, when they draft a player, right, will the clubs already would have spoken to their agents, fixed a fee or something like that, or they pick and then they deal with the player contract, salary and other stuff?
It's all of that's what makes the NBA draft such a great thing. It's never pre-decided.
Okay.
So what happens is that rookies who are like, say for example, Cade Cunningham, who's the number one pick, right? He will be called for trials for multiple clubs to come to, like, say, a Boston Celtics and do a tryout.
Okay.
Come to the Detroit Pistons, whatever. Whoever has a pick, do a tryout with them. Now, what that does is it gives the club an idea of what this player can bring. So yes, he is a number one pick, but how much are they willing to sacrifice to get that number one pick?
Okay.
So, for example, I'll give you an example. Like the last year, Milwaukee Bucks, they will get the probably the last pick, right? Because they are the champs. They won't get a high pick.
Correct.
But they really want Cade Cunningham as a number one pick.
Okay.
They will have to probably let go of Giannis
Okay. Wow.
or Chris Middleton.
Okay.
Giannis probably too much because Giannis on a supermax, but a Chris Middleton type of player to even come close to a top 5 pick. So the bottom feeders generally always get the great picks, but if the top teams want a great pick, they have to sacrifice a lot. So you very rarely see that happen.
I mean, you're saying NBA clubs are willing to trade one of their top 5 or top 6 player to get a draft pick. I mean, a draft pick, a top 3, top 4 draft pick, is that important? Is it like that big?
See, the thing is that it depends how old is your star player, what contract he's on.
Okay.
And if, say, for example, he becomes a free agent in next year, he can choose to basically, create, it's called a player option, where basically he can decide to renew with you, or he can decline it, and then you can either propose a new deal to him, or he can go somewhere else.
Okay. So one final question then. So like in football, can a player move from a club to club or a team to team when he still has an active contract with the current club? Like a club can
Yes.
buy a player. Okay. Okay.
Yes. It's almost like a buyout clause.
Got it. Oh, so there's a buyout clause. There is no negotiation at all.
There are complications, but it's a buyout clause. Like it's the thing is that a player, unlike in football, a club can't say no, I don't want to sell him.
Oh, okay.
It's always more on the player.
Okay. Okay, that's actually great. So that means a club has to do a lot to make sure the player is happy playing for them. So yeah, that puts a lot of responsibility on the club to make sure the player is happy. Beyond the money, the player is happy playing for the club.
That's why there's a lot of criticism thrown at LeBron James, right? LeBron James, basically, it feels like that he wants a player, he'll tell the Lakers they'll get it. So, for example, this season, the Lakers team is like a pension fund. Every player is a veteran. And they just got Russell Westbrook, who's Mr. Triple-Double himself. So they're going to be stacked, but they're all above 30. The average age of the Lakers team is 34, which is ridiculous. And they let go to acquire Russell Westbrook. They let go of 7 young players. So a lot of teams go for make or break seasons. A make or break season is where they put all their eggs in one basket that this is my run. This is the season I've decided to go for the championship. They will sell all their assets. So they will sell their, and another important, before I conclude, it gets confusing. People can sell up to 10 years ka draft picks.
Oh, okay. Well, can you elaborate on that 10 years ka draft?
So for example, to make it easy for you, I'll give you an example. Both of us are clubs, right? I will say that you give me your star player. I will give you my pick for the 2022 wala draft, 2023 ka draft, 24 ka draft, and 25 ka draft. So wherever I'm placed, whatever my pick is, I will give you the option to
What if you win the league? What if
But
you
I
win
need
the
your
league?
player now.
Even if you win the league, you'll get a last pick. You'll get the 30th pick.
you'll get a pick. There are many rounds, right? There are about 200 odd players who apply for a draft.
Okay.
So 30 के बाद वापस एक round होता है. So the second pick, second round होता है, third round होता है, and then there are players who get undrafted as well.
Got it. Oh, that clarifies a lot of questions. Great. So I hope you guys had a quick understanding, a quick tutorial on how NBA drafts work. I surely did. I got a lot of questions answered. And I look forward to the next round. When it is happening, if someone wants to look forward to it.
So the draft is over.
Okay.
It all happens in one day.
Oh, okay.
So 30 picks happen, then the second pick everything happens on one day. Now what's happening is a lot of off-season trades are happening. So as I said, Russell Westbrook moved. Kyle Lowry, who's probably the greatest ever Toronto Raptors player, moved to the Miami Heat. So they're retiring his jersey number in Toronto because obviously he won them a championship, the first one and only in their career two seasons ago, in their history 2 seasons ago. So it's going to be a very interesting season. A lot of players moving around. If you know the Balls, Lonzo Ball, his father, LeVar Ball, was basically, they started their own shoe brand called BBB, called Big Baller Brand. Wow. And they were all over TV. His dad was bragging about his 3 sons. So 2 of their sons are already in the NBA. Now the third has also got drafted.
Wow.
So all 3 are in the NBA.
Wow. Great. Super. That's one great session on NBA, guys. And as I said, Thursday we'll get together again where we'll talk about the seasons that's going to start. The 2021-22 season. We'll preview EPL.
Bala, do you want to give everyone, just before we end, the dates of when the La Liga, Premiership and the Serie A are starting so that everyone knows?
So, okay. So Premier League starting this Friday night. I believe the first game is between Arsenal and Brentford. La Liga is starting, I think, Friday night or Saturday morning. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, weekend definitely. Serie A is starting the week after that. So it's not starting on 14th or 15th of August. It's starting on 21st or 20th of August. So that's when it's starting. So Liga, as I said, already started. Bundesliga again starting this weekend. In fact, the DFB Pokal Cup has already started. Erling Haaland has already scored a hat-trick. So his season has started. So there is nothing to be surprised there. So yeah, exactly. So we'll preview all this. We will talk more about football or any other transfers that has happened in the next 2-3 days. So great. Until then, it is bye from Bala.
Bye from Ishan. See you on Thursday, guys.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like we are literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you are listening to. It not only helps us, but also new listeners to easily find our podcast. You can also reach out to us on Twitter @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye.